When you're in a fight, whatever the fight might be, except the physical, of course, whatever fight you're in, be it work, social life, whatever, never punch down. Trip them up. That's how you win. See, right now, you're probably at the bottom, right? Most of my viewers are young, okay? And so if you're young, you're probably at the bottom. You're just starting your climb up the ladder, or rather, the pyramid, okay? It's not a ladder, it's a pyramid. It gets smaller as you go higher, right? Now, you're climbing, and so you don't realize that this is going to happen to you, but eventually it will happen. It's smart to be prepared. At some point, you're going to be higher up on the pyramid, right? Maybe you're at the very top of the pyramid, but more likely than not, you're going to be like a third of the way up, halfway up, and some younger guy, some guy who's new, who's climbing the same pyramid as you, who's like right behind you, right? He's going to start, taking aim at you. He's going to be trying to get your position. Yeah, and you're going to be finding yourself in the middle of a fight. Yeah, this is perfectly natural. See, we are men, and so we are always fighting for position. It's perfectly normal. It's perfectly normal for a young guy, a younger guy, a guy behind you to be trying to take your spot. Now, the problem is, of course, is how do you handle such a guy? A guy who's right behind you, he's lower on the totem pole, right? So if you get into the fight, you're going to wind up punching down. He's going to be punching up, but you're going to be punching down. Should you do that? No, absolutely not. If you're higher up on a totem pole, there is nothing to be won if you punch down. And potentially you could lose a great deal if you punch down, okay? Now let me explain. See, a guy is climbing up behind you, right? He's lower on the totem pole than you are, right? So he starts taking swings at you, taking jabs at you, trying to get you in a fight, to draw you out, right? He wants your position. Now, why is he creating this antagonism with you? Oh, it's very simple. It's actually two reasons. See, number one, he wants your position, whatsoever that position may be, but he wants your position because of the fact that it's higher up on the pyramid than his own position. So he's going to want it. And the way to get that position, he's going to think, is by shoving you aside and taking over the position, right? And that's the first reason he's going to be taking a swing at you. But the second reason is actually quite subtle, and you should pay attention to the second reason. The second reason is that, when you have an obvious antagonist above you, okay, it gives you something to aim for. And this is very important because, a lot of times it's harder to define yourself by what you want rather than define yourself by who you want to replace. Let me rephrase this. It's easier to say, I hate this guy, than it is to say, this is what I want. You see what I mean? A lot of times, a guy lower on the totem pole will hate you because he can't quite define what he wants. But by defining an antagonism towards you, right, he can define himself. Now, this is going to come into play in a little bit later, but let me get to a first point of what do you do when somebody below you starts taking swings at you? You don't swing back. You don't swing back because, power is relative, okay? So if somebody below you, behind you on the totem pole, whatsoever this totem pole may be, maybe it's your job, say a guy, an underling of yours, or an underling, on the hierarchical level, he's taking jabs at you. If you swing at him, if you try to fight him, what will happen is that by the mere fact that you engage him, you are elevating him. You are elevating him, you are turning him into a worthy opponent at your level. You see? So automatically, rather than him being some junior guy who's being annoying, he becomes a guy who's on, up and coming and who could potentially take your position because you, by engaging with him, have elevated him to your own position. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the first thing that happens when you merely engage with somebody who's punching up. You see what I mean? And I haven't even gotten to the outcomes, you see? Because there are three outcomes if you engage in a fight with somebody, right? You can win, you can draw, or you can lose, right? Okay. Now, suppose you engage and get into a fight with a guy who's lower than you on the totem pole. Well, by engaging in him, as I explained, you've elevated him. Now, if you win, right? Let's say that you just blow him out. You just totally blow him out of the water. I mean, so bad that he just like flees and goes into exile, right? Well, you look like a bully. Yeah, you look like a bastard. People will begin to fear you. And other people will start to say, you know, maybe we should get rid of this guy. He's a jerk. Look what he did to Mr. X, who, you know, was being annoying, yes, but he climbed a little bit, and you went and just blew him out of the water, and now everybody just doesn't like you, right? So that's the first possible outcome. You win, but you antagonize a lot of other people. And those other people might potentially start getting the idea that they want your position. Huh? Now say you lose. You lose, and see, by losing to somebody so junior, it's a worse loss, okay? You're going to get blown out forever. Nobody's going to take you seriously after that. Even if you remain in your position somehow, you hold on to it by your fingernails, right? People are just not going to take you that seriously afterwards. The respect that you will have earned before will be gone by your loss, even if you remain. And here's the terrible part, the tricky part. See, even if it's a draw or you win by a little bit, if it's a draw or you win by a little bit, just barely, right? Again, people aren't going to take you that seriously. Because, see, before you engaged, you probably had the reputation that you were secure in your position. But if you have a fight with this guy who's behind you, who's lower on the totem pole, and it's a draw or you barely eke out a win, you lose face, you lose prestige, you look bad. So you see how in every outcome of a fight with a guy who's lower than you on the totem pole, you lose. Because if you blow him out, people are going to fear you and not like you, and there'll be a bad aftertaste. It won't be a clean win, okay? So you'll lose there. And if you barely win or draw or lose, well, you lose. Any way you cut it, you lose with a guy who's lower on the totem pole. By the same token, see, if you are lower on the totem pole and you manage to engage a guy higher than you, well, then you win in every outcome. See, even if you lose, even if he blows you out, but you still remain and don't flee into exile, right? If you still remain, you got blown out, right? But you still remain and keep on going, the respect, see, the fact that you took on the big guy and you lost, but you lost fair and square. See, if you're below, there's only good things if you engage. But if you're above, you lose in every outcome. And that's why if you're above, you never engage. But see, here's something key. See, if you're higher on the totem pole, right, there are going to be three things that are going on. Number one, you're going to know more about the milieu. Number two, you're going to have more relationships in the milieu than the younger guy, the guy who's behind you, the guy who's lower on the totem pole, right? And the third thing is that you will be able to dictate the terms because the guy can only swing at you. That's all he can do to you. But you, since you know the milieu and you have more relationships in the milieu, you can dictate what's the playing field, or more correctly, where's the battleground. And this becomes key. You don't engage with a guy in an open field. Oh, no, of course not. You don't do something stupid like that. Rather, what you do is that, see, you use your superior knowledge and the relationships you have in the milieu to trip him up, to send him obstacles. Well, let me give you a specific example. Suppose this is all happening at work, right? And you're like some manager somewhere, and you got this underling who's bucking to be a manager, right? So what do? You suggest to other people to give this guy who's trying to climb, trying to replace you, you suggest to other people to give him more work. And you say, oh yeah, he seems really energetic and really hardworking, just give him more work. And you give him, 1, 2, 3, 4 more balls that he has to juggle, right, at the job. And what's going to happen inevitably? He's going to drop one. He's going to drop 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe all 4 or maybe more, right? The more responsibilities you give on this guy, on this up-and-comer, right, the more likelihood he's going to screw it up. And if he screws up, who's going to get the blame? He is. You see? And will they blame you? No, of course not. They're not going to blame you because you didn't do anything. What did you say about Mr. X, the up-and-comer, yeah? You said that Mr. Up-and-comer was a great guy and he could probably handle the work, right? And you're sorely disappointed that he dropped the ball on all these things, but well, I guess I was wrong about that. Boo-hoo, let's go get a beer. See, there are ways that you can create obstacles or put weight on Mr. Up-and-comer, the guy who's trying to take your position. Because of course we're assuming that this guy is as good as you or less good than you, right? And that you're capable and competent and you know more or less what you're doing, right? I mean, if you're not, if you're incapable, if you're incompetent, well, I hate to say it to you, but some other guy is going to take your position eventually, okay? So just resign yourself. No, I'm assuming that the position that you have, you've earned it and you merit it and you warrant it, right? Well, in that case, it's easy to trip up the guy, and that's what you do. You put weight on his shoulders, put rocks in his backpack, right? And the more the merrier. And you just keep on putting weights and obstacles, and you don't do it directly. You just mention it to other people, and other people will do it. And of course, an up-and-comer who wants to show off what a great guy he is and how he can handle shit, he's going to be happy to take on all this additional responsibility. I mean, this is especially in work, right? And he's going to be happy to take on this additional responsibility. And the fact of the matter is, you only have a finite number of hours in the day, right? And sooner or later, you're going to blow out. It's inevitable. No matter how capable, competent, intelligent, hardworking, driven, what have you, there are only 24 hours in the day, right? And you give somebody enough work, they're going to start screwing up. That's how you've solved this problem. And you see, it is a problem, okay? See, young up-and-comer guys, right, they always want to take your position, right? Because they envy you. They want what they don't have. And like I said at the beginning, see, by hating on you, they have an objective, okay? And this is important, see, and this is the subtlety. This is where subtlety comes into play, see. A guy who's like an up-and-comer, who wants your position because he sees what you have and wants what you have, right? And he's going to aim for your position and aim for your ass. He's going to want to, wipe the floor with you, right? And he is going to dislike you because by disliking you and saying negative things about you, he feels this psychological need of he doesn't know what he wants, but he knows what he's against, i.e. you, and therefore he's aiming for you to take you out, right? But see, what you can do in such a situation, and very, very subtle, is what you do is that you engage him on a personal level. Yeah, I'll go out for drinks with the guy. And don't show your hand, don't freak out, don't get all defensive, okay? Whatever thing he says to you, and believe me, if you take him out for drinks, he's going to say a whole host of things to antagonize you, right? Whatever he says, you just ignore it. And you just smile placidly and take a drink of your drink, right? And you are placid and relaxed and you engage him, okay? Now, if you engage him in a social setting, just private, just the two of you talking shop, one of two things is going to happen. Either he remains hating your guts or he's going to start to like you. You see? See, if he starts liking you, it's going to be harder to go against you. See, because human beings are ruled by our emotions. This is perfectly natural. And when we like somebody, we find it hard to be a bastard with them. We have to actively dislike somebody to go against them, right? And so if you take this, this up-and-comer, right? And you take him out for drinks or dinner or whatever the hell, movies, ball game, whatever, right? And you hang out and you develop a rapport. If he starts to like you, it's going to be harder for him to justify going after you. And potentially, you could flip this situation around and turn this up-and-comer into a lieutenant, one of your guys, which is the best outcome, by the way. Yeah, because see, a guy who's an up-and-comer, who's no dummy, who's coming up through the ranks, right? If you flip it around, flip his antagonism towards you around and turn him into an ally, make him an ally of yours, he could be powerful. And you could basically use him as your attack dog to sick other guys on your level, and potentially guys above you whose position that you want. You see what I mean? Yeah, so Mr. Up-and-Comer who's been, biting at your heels, all of a sudden you turn him around and all of a sudden he's your guy, your dog, your attack dog that you sick on others, right? That's one outcome. And the other outcome is, of course, that you take him out for drinks, you schmooze him a little bit, and he still hates your guts, right? But see, other people are going to see that you try to make friends with him. And as Mr. Up-and-Comer shits on you and says nasty things about you, what's going to happen? People aren't going to like him. Yeah. I mean, like, think about it, You saw John, who's like the senior guy, and he took out Matt, this is this up-and-comer, and they went out for drinks, and Joe has only been nice to Matt, right? But Matt keeps on shitting on Joe and calling him an old man, and doesn't know any better, an old fart, blah, blah, blah. Well, what do you think of Matt? You think he's an asshole. Of course, it's human nature, right? If you see somebody being kind to a guy, and that guy shits on the guy who's kind to him, you naturally reject him. It's human nature. And see? This is how you win. You win by being subtle. You win by seeing all the angles. You win by understanding that human relationships are as mechanistic as playing pool. I'm sure you've played pool, right? And you go there and the balls, right, they don't move. And the relationship between the balls is very clear. You got the cue ball, the white ball, for those of you who don't know, and that's the ball that you strike. And you shoot that ball towards the other balls to get them into the pockets, into the holes of the table, right? And see, it's very clear. If you look around the table, you walk around calmly, okay? And not get freaked out. Because what happens a lot of times with somebody who has a position is that when somebody starts climbing up and nipping at their heels, what have you, they freak out. They freak out and they mishandle it badly. They mishandle the situation very, very badly. And they create enemies where they didn't need to. And they lose prestige and the respect of their peers when they didn't need to. Okay? And this happens all the time. I've seen it countless times. And more than a time or two, it's happened to me, where I was foolish enough to engage with somebody who was below me on the totem pole, rather than play it smart, rather than play it subtle. See? And I myself have been the guy lower on the totem pole, trying to, reach up and hit somebody higher up than me on the totem pole. And I've mishandled it too. Yeah, because the guy higher up understood what was going on and played it subtle, played it smart. See? So I've been on all sides of this equation. And I'm telling you, this is how you win. And most importantly of all, this happens all the time among men. Okay? Among men who are, we are inherently scrambling for position. We want a better position than what we have, no matter how good our position, okay? I am sure that, people like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and whomever, they're scheming every night how to improve their position. And you say, oh, that's impossible. They're the richest men in the world. Yeah, but they want better. We all do. It's built into us. We want better. And we scheme and do all kinds of foolishness in order to improve our position. Now, what I'm telling you here, it will help you. And pay attention to this. And I hope you watch this video at least more than once so that you internalize the lesson. See? You don't beat a guy lower on the totem pole by engaging with him. No. If you go out on an open field to fight the guy, you lose. Whatever the outcome, even if you win, you lose. So what you have to do is play it subtle, play it smart. Trip him up. Be smart. Because the things that you earn in life, you're going to find as you get older that they are very difficult to come by. The things that you get in your life, your fortune, your position, the relationships you have in your life, they are hard to come by, and you can lose them very easily. So don't give in to emotion. Don't fall for the trap of fear. Play it smart. Keep your cool. And you'll do fine.